Well done! Well done! Wilson! Wilson! I'm sorry!
I can edit. We're rolling. I'm here with Cali Farquharson. I say that right?
Yes.
All right. Well, this is episode 739. It's not a live show today because I'm on a cruise right now. But you'll be my show while I'm on a cruise.
Oh, cool.
So Cali's a fellow Matador. I'm a Matador. When did you graduate?
Yes. I graduated in 2012.
2012?
Yeah.
I graduated in 1994. So
almost the year that I was born.
Oh my gosh. I could be your father. Yeah. My daughter just graduated from college a couple weeks ago.
Good for her.
And then I'm going to have I have another one in college, and I have one on his way to college and almost done.
Where did your daughter go to school again?
She went to Seattle U for 2 years. And then when COVID hit, she went to Idaho or BYU, Idaho, to where they could actually do things, and then loved it and didn't want to leave. And so.
And then your son?
Jack is going to be a senior at Millennium High School.
Okay.
And then Jet is 11.
Shut up. His name's Jet?
Jet. J-E-T-T. Jet.
That's on my list of names for my kids.
Yeah.
I have kids.
Jet?
Yeah. Jet.
Well, it's a great name.
That's awesome. I've never met one in real life. So I'm like, oh, that's so cool.
Well, so I was fast. And I was like, I was assuming my children would get my genes to be fast, and Jet's the slowest one. Who would have thought?
Kind of ironic.
But he thinks he's the fastest one. That's all that matters. So, Cali, let's talk. You just retired.
Yep.
So let's go backwards.
Just retired. Yep.
So you were at the Houston Dash?
Yes. So I was at the Houston Dash this past year. And growing up, I'm from Phoenix, Arizona. So I grew up playing locally here for Acetal Sol, and then I spent like a year at Sereno at the time, and then went back to Acetal Sol. Got recruited to play at Arizona State University, so I stayed again local. I think which was the right fit for me.
Who was a coach at ASU?
Kevin Boyd.
Okay.
Yeah, so I ended up having great success there. I think I was very fortunate to get the minutes and the opportunities starting my freshman year. So I was able to play every game freshman year. I was able to play every game sophomore year. And so played at Arizona State. When I graduated, I was the second all-time leading goal scorer, but now that has been surpassed, and so I'm the third all-time leading goal scorer.
How many goals did you score?
44.
Holy cow.
Yeah. Which at the time I didn't realize was a lot, but I think, that now that I'm older and I can reflect and be like, oh yeah, that was kind of a lot for college. And then there got drafted to play for the Washington Spirit, 12th overall, and moved all the way across the country. So, when like freshmen in college, when they leave home, they get kind of homesick, and that first few months, it's difficult for them. So I feel like I experienced that after I graduated college because, I stayed local. So I was like around and I still got to see my family, and I grew up here. So nothing was ever really different, except obviously where I lived. And then moving out to DC, I think that's when I got, homesick, and it's wildly different. It's green, it's crowded. There's 2-story Targets, 2-story grocery stores. Yeah. I'm like, what is this? But ultimately, like, I loved it there. I stayed there for 4 years. And then, got to play overseas, and then spent this past year with the Houston Dash. and retired this past January.
What led you to retirement?
I think it was just lack of motivation. I just knew that I couldn't continue doing the day-by-day process to stay fit and stay ready and stay healthy. And I think I just hit a burnout, and I think that's when I knew it was time to retire.
Yeah, and you could get stuck there for years.
Yeah.
My biggest fear when I was playing sports was I had to choose between baseball and track. Ultimately, I ended up doing soccer. And luckily, I didn't stay in baseball, because baseball, you can get stuck in like AAA, AA.
Yeah.
There's always, you could play forever.
Yeah.
And you could be in that situation where you kind of lose your life into a sport and you give everything up for it. But
yeah, it's just, again, quality of life just started getting different, right? Because now I have a boyfriend, and, you know, my family is back in Arizona. So doing the long distance thing as well, that was hard. And then again, you lose your weekends and your family vacations. So I think I just got to a point, where I knew I couldn't continue. And it wasn't for lack of love for the game. I still love soccer, and I still love watching and being an advocate for women in sport. I just knew personally I could no longer continue putting my body through the daily grind. Yeah.
It's a literal grind.
Yeah.
So you were born in Yokota, Japan?
Yeah, I was. So I was a military baby.
Okay.
Yeah. So military brat growing up, which is actually really cool, because now I'm doing a tour in August with the military. I'm doing some camps overseas at their military bases, which is going to be kind of a fun way for me to give back, because I was that little kid growing up living overseas, and now I get to go and, you know, hopefully inspire the next generation.
So how long were you in Japan?
Japan, I was just a baby in Japan. So like a couple years. And then we moved to Hawaii. So got to live in Hawaii, and then we moved to Italy. So got to live in Italy. And then my dad wanted us to be raised in America. So we moved to Texas.
Well, that's America.
Yeah. And then he retired, and his whole family is from Phoenix. So we came back to Phoenix, and my mom's whole family is from San Diego. So we were kind of deciding which city to live in. And ultimately, they chose Phoenix. Okay,
so that happened a lot. So you're moving around from birth.
Yeah.
When did you ultimately end up in Phoenix?
I think it was like 5th grade. So I was still pretty young, but I think I got used to adjusting at such a young age. You know, you got to move around. You got to meet new friends. So I've always been good about meeting people, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, especially in the before 6th grade. Yeah. When did you start playing soccer?
So I started playing soccer in Italy, which reminds me, I kind of feel bad for my older brother, because when we moved back to this Arizona, he was a freshman in high school, so he kind of had a longer period of his life, you know, traveling and doing all of that. When you're older, I think it's tougher. But lived in Italy when I was 7 or 8, and so got involved with soccer because my brothers were super into it. They were super into basketball too. But, you know, Europeans and their soccer, right? They love it. So we got to, I remember being on this team, and it was really cool. It was like a basketball court almost, and there was a huge fence, and it was like overlooking the ocean, but it was super cool. And it wasn't like your traditional soccer fields. It was concrete, and you wore your tennis shoes.
So and, basically
futsal pretty much. Yeah. And then I remember we were watching home videos a few Christmases ago, and my brothers were playing just in dirt with their shoes. Like, they didn't really have a lot of grass pitches for the youth out there, but it was still kind of cool to see, like, literally playing in dirt and on basketball courts.
So you were born in a soccer environment.
Yes, and my brothers were obsessed growing up as well. So I think that also helped my game, is like the EPL was always on when I was, oh my gosh, 5th grade up to, sophomore in high school. So from a young age, I was just always watching soccer because my brothers were watching soccer.
Yeah, I think there's a huge thing we miss in America with culture and being the reason I recruit a certain player here at Phoenix College is because the kids I have grew up watching the game. They play the game. They're on the streets playing unorganized. I mean, that's kind of how they are structured. And it's a huge advantage if you start out that way. And I think maybe that really is what propelled you is being in that environment, and obviously having brothers that loved it as well, because it's a family thing.
Oh yeah, I remember having to pay my older brother would ask my dad to pay for the what was it, Sky Sports, or I can't remember at the time because it was back, back in the day. So
yeah, Sky Sports was definitely in control.
So we could watch all the EPL games, but yeah, no, I agree. I think here it's harder to find the kids that grew up in a culture or in a soccer minded household, just because there are so many sports as well. So you never know.
So you attended Shadow Mountain, my school. Yeah. You like how I said it's my school?
I know.
Somehow,
you were there a long, long time ago.
I know. Somehow I'm in the Hall of Fame with Mike Bibby.
Good for you.
And so, are you in the Hall of Fame?
I'm not in the Hall of Fame.
How dare they? We got to make some calls. Shadow Mountain. But Cali here has a better resume than I do, and I'm in it somehow. So
maybe one day.
Yeah, well, we'll work on that.
That's funny. Go Matadors.
Yeah, maybe because you only played 1 year there. So what happened there? Obviously, club soccer got in the way.
Yeah, so I played freshman year and senior year, because by senior year I was already committed, and then freshman year still was kind of in.
Okay.
My whole team was playing, and I didn't really have a team to train with at the time, and so by sophomore year, the 93 team had come over to East Valley, so I was able to train and play with the 93s. And go to Disney and all those tournaments back then. So that's why I didn't play my sophomore, junior year, because those were big recruiting times. But also my team was awful. We lost every game, 6-0.
It wasn't that way in the 90s.
Well, I should have been born earlier then, I guess.
You should have. They were stacked. So the Shamrocks, which is before East Valley, that's where I played Shamrocks. Okay. And we had our 95 Shamrocks. Was it 95? No, 75. 75 Shamrocks were stacked.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they won state twice.
Yeah.
They won state in the first, I think the first time they had state for girls soccer. Yeah. Shadow was stacked.
Yeah.
The boys were just trying to compete with the girls as far as doing well as they did. But yeah. It's because it was all club girls from Shamrocks. That's a heavy soccer area.
That's awesome
for girls.
Yeah, no, it is definitely. But yeah,
you just want to represent your school, huh?
Yeah. You know who also went to Shadow Mountain?
Who?
Robbie Finley.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, he played with my brother.
Oh, really? Oh,
so
cool.
Yeah, interesting. So
yeah, how old is your brother?
Matt, he is. What is he? He's probably 45. So
but Robbie's not that old, right?
Maybe he's younger. He's my youngest brother.
Okay.
So I don't know. Yeah. He played with Sean McDonald.
Oh, that's Jess's brother, right?
No, they're related though.
Okay.
Yeah. So the McDonald family, the Bibby family, they're all kind of related somehow. But Shad Mountain Boys won one state title. So when I played there, we won. We were really good. We were number one in the state my sophomore, junior, senior year, and we never won state.
Yeah.
And then I graduate. My little brother, who's not good, by the way, started for him, and they won the state title here at Phoenix College against Brophy. And I was at that game. Sean McDonald was ridiculous. Like,
yeah, I bet
he played 9 years in the NFL. Could have played in EPL, no problem.
Yeah.
And he ran a 4.240, 10 100 meter. He was a freak.
So, but he played soccer.
He played soccer and football and track, all of it, and he chose football. And obviously, so talented, NFL, and that he scored the 2 goals in the state final, and probably one of the best players ever to come out Arizona on the men's side that never played pro.
That's crazy.
I know. But yeah,
must be nice.
Yeah. So I think my brother graduated in, I don't know, 96. No, he didn't graduate then. He was on that team though. Anyways, they won state like 2 years later, a year later, but whatever.
I didn't know them to be a winning soccer program.
We were for a short period. So can you share with us your journey on becoming a professional athlete and kind of what you went through?
So I can't remember when the league folded. So the league had folded either when I was in high school or I think it was my junior year. My dad had brought me a newspaper article and it said, women's pro league has folded, something like that. So I was kind of like, oh, okay, what am I going to do with my life? There wasn't really an avenue for professional women's soccer. And then when I went to college, I think they reinstated a new league anyways.
They restructured the league so it can make it.
Yeah. So anyways, that kind of came out when I was in college. So I wasn't really sure, honestly, if I wanted to play pro. That wasn't really in the forefront of my mind. And by senior year, I had kind of conceptualized what I had done in college was pretty cool. To score that many goals and not realizing that was a lot. And then, social media was getting a little bit bigger and online statistics were starting to become a thing. Yeah. So my coaches were like, why don't you enter the draft? And I was like, okay, yeah, I'll just enter the draft and see if I get picked up. I was so nervous. I didn't think I was going to get picked up, which is really frustrating. The confidence and the belief in myself that I had back then was so minimal and non-existent, and I look back and I'm like, oh, why just wasn't I a little more confident, And so I went home and I was watching on TV with my friend from college, Mackenzie Simmerad, and none of my parents were there or my brothers. And I started getting texts before my stream was a little lagging. So I started getting texts like, congrats. And I was like, oh my gosh, like what's happening? And then they announced my name on the screen. And it was 12th overall. And I was like, oh wow, like I wasn't expecting, you know what I mean? Like I just had no idea where I was at.
That's crazy you say that. I want to stop you right there. I want to go back to kind of your ASU.
Yeah.
You're just playing and not realizing your stats are good. You're just playing.
Right.
Do you think psychologically that was probably a good thing? You're just playing.
Yeah.
And not worrying about stats.
Yeah. It wasn't even like, I didn't know 10 goals in college was a big deal. Right.
Well,
like,
D1.
For D1. Yeah. And I was like, oh, and I did that my freshman year. I did that my sophomore year. And then my junior year, I think I scored 14 and tied Sam Mewis for MVP of the Pac-12 for like offensive leader or whatever. And then I was like, oh, that's interesting. But the mentality I had in college was just to like be present in every game and just go out there and be the best teammate I can be.
Where'd you get that thinking from, or not?
Because I know my sophomore year, I had a really hard time. I think I'd scored 7 goals in the first 7 games, and then I went on like a drought for like a lot of games, and I was like overthinking everything, and I was just like, oh. So in my junior year, I was like, I can't do that. I can't think like that. I just need to focus on one game at a time, and I had the coaches, kind of help me too, like just be mindful in a sense, like just be the best you can be this game, be the best teammate you can be. Like I started controlling what I could control. So if that was more effort or just being supportive and encouraging to someone else, that's kind of how I changed like my philosophy, and it benefited me. I saw more results with that philosophy. So I kind of started rolling with it and, tried to champion that.
You're fortunate, and I think that's what led you to be able to do those things.
Right.
Not me. I was a goal scorer. I scored a lot of goals.
Yeah.
But I pay attention to them. I pay attention to everyone I flip and miss, and I would rack my brain. And
I'm still haunted by the ones that I've missed. I think those are the ones I remember the most compared to the big ones.
I still remember Shadow Mountain, my senior year. We're the #1 team in state. We're playing Dobson High School. Yeah. We're down 2-0. We're tying. We tied it 2-2.
Yeah.
And then I'm on a breakaway to win the game, to make it 3-2, and miss a breakaway. No. And then, of course, they counter and score. So I'll never forget that.
Yeah.
So that was devastating. But
it honestly can haunt you, Yeah, there were some times, too, where I was like, man, there were some sitters I could have easily put away, But it's fine. You can't think about it too much.
Yeah. Well, that's definitely interesting because everything's mindset. How can you just have your mind be clear so you can perform according to how your technical level?
Right.
Okay, so you're drafted number 12. Who were you drafted by?
The Washington Spirit.
Okay.
So
what year was that?
2016.
Yeah.
And I didn't finish that semester of school, so I left to go play. And when I arrived, again, I was like, oh my gosh, am I even good enough to be here? Like that kind of confidence level. And I think, the first week was a grind. Professional women's soccer was different back then. Loadings weren't a thing, right? You just go 2 hours straight, intensity. And I just started realizing I could hang, and I was fast and technical, and a lot of some other girls that were on the team that had come from really big programs. Again, I could hang with them. And in my head, that's when I was like, oh man, like I belong. And then again, it frustrated me because I was like, well, what if I went to one of these? I could have easily played at one of these big top 10 programs. I just didn't believe in myself. And then, but again, ultimately, Arizona State was the best fit for me because I was able to play freshman year, sophomore year. You never know if you go to these other schools with, all of these older girls who have veteran experience, and who knows if I would have had that experience from the beginning.
What teammate from the Washington Spirit that you really connected with?
My rookie year was Joanna Lohman. Her energy was just so contagious, like just happy, positive, engaging, I think is another one. Just at that level too, when you're a rookie and you're new, it's hard, right? Not a lot of people at the pro level really try to
really connect because you're competing with them.
Right. It's harder to build relationships at the pro level.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was just interesting. But yeah, Joanna Lohman, Estelle Johnson, Shayna Matthews, who at the time was Shayna Williams, but she has 3 kids now and still playing, which is crazy to me. But what I love about her and I was we were competing for the same spot. And we were both the rookies that had earned the contracts. At the time, 20 were contracted. That's it. There was no other, leeway. And so they were already full. So we had to go in and kind of earn our spot and, get play without pay for a month. And I think what was awesome about us is we were able to be supportive and encouraging to each other, even when we were playing in the same position. So I think I felt really fortunate having her as like my rookie partner going into it.
Did you get much time as rookie?
Yeah. So I think that was one of my memorable moments is the first game. I wasn't sure if I was, again.
Right.
So I didn't get to start that game, but I was the first sub in. So it was my first debut and I was freaking out and I was like, oh my gosh, obviously my first touches on the ball were awful just because I was like, what is happening? I'm going in, like I'm the first sub. Like it was kind of a big deal for me. But yeah, I got a lot of minutes. Started sat. I didn't really get a good flow of starting. And at the time, as a rookie, it kind of Sorry, can I curse on this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because I was so used to playing and I never got consistent starts, so that when I sat, my confidence just boom, went so low. So I couldn't really figure out how to take on a whole season of professional soccer. But I was starting against Seattle, and 2 minutes in, I tore my ACL. So that was kind of the end of my rookie year, which obviously was fortunate in a sense because I was able to go back to school that semester and finish out a whole, semester of school. But yeah, I had always gotten some minutes, whether, that's a couple minutes at the end, a start, 15 to 20, like it was always kind of something.
But I want to talk, I don't want to bring you to the horrors of ACL, but
oh my gosh, it's
I've coached girls soccer for a long time. When I started the Palm Valley Soccer League, this is way before, 2001, and Greg Vanny transitioned his Hammers Club to the West Valley. I opened another part of it, and then AZFC went down, and then we just kept it alive. Mm-hmm. And I would just only attract girl teams because we would just teach technique and slow the game down and play a little differently. The boys didn't like it. They want to run through a wall like crazy people. But so we're trying to be creative, and it just had more of a attraction towards the girls' side because they'd like to be, they like the unique part of being able to handle the ball.
Yeah.
So in my entire coaching career since 2002.
Yeah.
Coaching girls all the way, coaching Millennium girls. I'm in year 7, not one ACL tear. And
good for you.
Yeah, I'm always
congratulations. That's amazing.
But I think it's more of like style play. So I play differently. Yeah. We keep the ball, we slow it down. I say don't go into tackles, stand them up, group defend, never lunge, and just like slow it down. We don't have to be crazy.
Yeah.
Because I think it's just an opinion of mine, that when you work on different movements with your body, manipulating the ball, you've seen some of the moves I kind of teach. I have hundreds of them I teach, but a lot of it's going backwards. A lot of it's 360 movements to develop the entire body to be able to connect. So you're not in a situation where you're always going forward.
Yeah.
And which I think it's too much stress, and you don't develop as a whole, so you can't protect yourself.
Right. And the American system is like the strongest, the fastest. Like you have to, lift a ton and like sprint a ton and.
Yeah. I think what.
Congratulations, though. That's a big feat.
Well, describe to me.
Yeah.
What led up to that injury?
Yeah, I honestly am not sure. I genuinely I was the biggest I'd ever been in regards to strength. Like looking at pictures of myself, I was just like a big, strong girl. So I genuinely believe my quads were stronger than my hamstrings at the time. But again, I don't know. So I planted and like non-contact, I think it went backwards. I don't know. So that kind of is, and I knew something had happened, which is crazy because some girls just get up and try to keep playing on it. And I'm like, how? I was in so much pain. It swelled up so fast. But yeah, it's just also incredible. I think this year alone, there's been like 20 something big stars too. A lot of,
I truly believe everyone's trying to make money.
Yeah.
And you get these strength coaches and they get a degree and they're from this and they just like create something in their head because they were given a degree or a certification. What they're saying is good. And then they'll just create these things like, we do ACL prevention warm-ups and I'm like, ever since they've been introduced, they've increased in number of ACLs. Yeah. But I think the one indicator that I think leads to ACL tears, the correlation between concussions and ACLs. Concussions tell me, because girls soccer's number one, just behind football. That tells me it's reckless. It's too forward. It's not thought out. It's running through. It's goofy, and they think like, oh, they do say like, oh, your quad, your proportions, or your hips, or whatever. I'm like, no, that's not it. It's not. Yeah. Your body is your body. No one understands it. You can connect. So let's make it very simplistic. I always talk about neurotransmitters and creating new connections in your body, and there's billions and billions upon billions of connections you can do. Yeah. So every time if you ride a bike and you learn how to ride a bike at age 6 or 7 or whatever, and then you stop riding that bike for 10 years, you can get on a bike and ride it pretty quick because you remember. Yeah. So
it can kind of be a little awkward at first, but
but you'll figure it out very fast because it's already connected. You already created all these synapses that are connected forever. Right. And unless you have a tear or injury that disconnects things, that's different. So I believe once you learn how to ride a bike or a new movement, you learn a different movement and a different movement and different movement. And then you become crazy strong. There's a Bruce Lee and his 1-inch punch, and he has all these demonstrations. He understood that. Like, you have to learn all art forms. You have to keep elevating your ability to connect your brain to your body. But anyways, I'm passionate about the dang ACL thing. Tell.
Well, I think an issue too at the time, back in, my rookie year, is we didn't have a sports scientist. We didn't have anyone monitoring anything. So we would just go to the gym. They would say, hey, do this workout. So, but they did hire someone outside to come and do that for us. But there was no connection like, hey, what did they do at practice? Hey, when is their name? You know what I mean? So there was kind of there wasn't really that communication. And then rookie year, I was just, so passionate. I would try to lift keep upping the weight, trying to gain more muscle. And, but I mean, it's grown so much now with just like the tracking units that they have and the specialists now. I think I was really fortunate later in my career just work with Buddy Hutanis. I don't know if you know who that is. Mm-hmm. He worked under Don Scott with the World Cup women's national team, U.S. women's national team, sorry. And he's with San Diego Wave right now, but he's local. And so I was able to have him every off season. He had his own GPS units, and it was the best in regards to like, okay, he's just so smart and good at what he does. And it wasn't like we're pushing weight. It's like, how can I don't know how to explain it. It was just very
sounds like it's more very individual based.
Yeah, it was nice, right? You just don't. It was catered to me, my running technique. We were trying to help figure it out because I'm a scooter. I don't like to knee drive, which I think has helped my soccer just because I can keep the ball close to my feet. But yeah, I mean, I really think he's really good at what he does. But if you don't have access to those kinds of coaches that don't just push heavy weight on girls, I think it definitely could be.
I'm curious.
Scary.
I'm curious what the numbers are for position ACL tears.
Yeah.
Defenders, forwards. I think midfielders would have less, which you would think they would have more.
Yeah, because they're just running the whole time.
Yeah. I don't know. We could talk about this all day, but
sorry.
it's definitely for me. It's I'm very curious and I'm nervous. I don't want to ever experience that.
Yeah. I mean, you learn so much when you go through it though. It's one of the hardest things I ever think I had to go through. And I ruptured my quad in 2021. And doing that was just a walk in the park compared to, ACL. So that ACL just prepares you for so much. And even just character building, getting through the pain, doing what you can daily. And I hit a really bad low, and my PT at the time is now my current boyfriend. So I know, but
that's great PT.
Yeah. Well, he one day he was like, "Did you do this? Did you do this on your own?" And I was like, "No." And he goes, "And you call yourself a fucking professional?" And I was taken aback. I was like, "Oh." It was kind of what I needed to hear to snap out of it and be like, you're right. I'm just wallowing in my own, self-pity, and I need to just go back, control what I can and step it up. And so that's when I really started taking control of my recovery. And
how did you hurt your quad? How'd you rupture it?
I couldn't tell you. Wear and tear. I ruptured it when I was Spirit on national team replacement contract, and they didn't believe me.
Oh.
So I went to rehab, and I was running on it 4 weeks in, and they were like, "Hey, you're not cleared. We're going to release you." And then in my head, I was like, "Well, you can't release an injured player. That's illegal." So I was like, "Okay, I need an MRI," and they come back with MRI and they're like, "Oh yeah, you ruptured your quad tendon." And I was like,
"Dang.
You didn't believe me? You think I was just what? I don't know. It was a very dark, that was a very frustrating time as well for me because I had come back into the Spirit and I had gotten injured within the first week of that, and then that's when Richie Burke just completely started isolating me and, what else? I mean, just obviously you knew that he didn't want me there, which is kind of crazy because I had played for him before, you know? And we had built a relationship when I was playing for him, and then to act like you don't even know someone because they get hurt under you. Come on. So he would go out of his way to personally alienate me and make me know that I wasn't wanted, which is tough for anybody, but I was already friends with all the girls. I mean, I'd played with all of them and, I was like, whatever. So after I got surgery on my quad, I just came back home and I just trained and got healthy here.
What's the recovery on that?
It can be 4 to 6 months.
Jeez.
So, yeah.
How long did it take you to recover from ACL?
10 months.
10 months. And then, and then once you're recovered from that, how long psychologically did it,
it didn't feel good until after 2 years with my ACL.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But fortunately I've had no other knee issues.
Good.
So yeah, I've ruptured that quad.
You do knees over toes, right? Are you doing that workout?
I don't know, no honest.
You got to do knees over toes. It's amazing.
Okay, what is it?
It's knees over toes guy. So it's on Instagram.
Okay.
So he's a
I will remember that one. I don't think that one's hard to forget.
yeah, knees over toes guy. Yeah, no, sorry. Well, we can fix that.
I'm like trying to like not get it too close, but and then I realized I got to talk on the side right there in the corner. That's like the spot. Is that better? Okay, nice.
I think so. Sorry about that.
Close to it last time? No, you're good.
No, you're fine.
Okay.
The knees over toes guy. So I saw someone just told me about it. I researched it, and it makes total sense on what it is. So when we play sport, our knees are always over our toes, but what we get from strength coaches and whatnot, oh, don't keep your knees perpendicular to your ankles or whatever. You can't get them forward. You know, you just squat down or whatever. And he's like, no, that makes no sense. We're always in a position where our knees are over toes. So he teaches knees over toes exercises.
Oh, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I can't hear you.
Working? What about now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
you're
gonna
stay a little close.
That's your new boyfriend. It's that microphone.
It's like I keep
It is. I'm always close because I want to be able to control my pitch as much as possible. But yeah, knees over toes.
Okay,
Take
I'll
a look.
definitely look into
Don't buy the program. Just you don't need to.
Yeah. Okay.
Jessica bought the program.
Okay.
But you don't need to.
I was gonna say, I guess a lot of my career was I had a lot of injuries. Like my hamstrings always went as well every preseason, so I always missed the first couple preseason games, like every preseason. Yeah. And this past year when I was coming back from the quad and going into the dash, everything just ankle sprain, quad, like hamstring, everything started going. And I think that was another, frustrating part about my career is like I couldn't just solidly have a few months before I had to,
a lot of that has to do with funding. Like you can't focus on yourself.
Yeah.
If you were you had $1 million contract, like paid like
right.
The professionals on the men's side, you would be able to just focus on you.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine, getting up, doing some yoga, doing some mental therapy, do some cold plunging, doing all these things and then have practice. But
yeah, I know. I mean, one of the things that I remember the Spirit skimping out on a lot, it was healthcare. So like our PTs weren't the best. I obviously I can't speak for how it is now, right? But I think one thing I appreciated about the dash, there was a PT on site, which I like really liked.
Of course, that's a requirement at college.
Yeah, and they're like, physical therapist versus athletic trainer. So like, there's ATC so everyone was present there. And so the only thing at the Spirit at the time was an athletic trainer. But yeah, I just remember that was kind of always an issue. It was like, the level of care wasn't as important, but obviously now it's changed so much with the new CBA and things coming out like that, where you have to prioritize the player, and the players have a voice now. So that's been really awesome for the girls. Okay,
it says in 2020 you were the name of the team was KIF Orebro.
Yeah, so I played in Sweden in 2020. Which again is I feel so fortunate and lucky because that was COVID year and I got a full season in.
Wow.
Yeah, because Sweden was the only country that stayed open.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was able.
How'd you get hooked up there? Who was your agent?
I feel really lucky. So, I mean, I not with him at the time, but after 2019, I was like, I need games. I need to go play. Like just to build my confidence. Cause again, I'd come in, I wasn't like that player that I was in college that would just be, so proactive and like short memory. Like I lost all of that at the pros. I just became such an overthinker and I was like, I need to go play. So I reached out to this agent at the time. It was Upper V. And I was like, hey, I'm looking to play overseas. Can you help me? So So he sent my video out to some teams in Sweden, and that's how that happened. But, I think I had like one conversation with him the whole time. So,
Okay.
And so I went to Sweden, and I just was able to play again and get games in, and it's so different over there. And again, the resources the team had were very low level, but I had to, remind myself like, okay, I'm playing, right? And I was able to build some more to my highlight video, and just experience something totally new. And I think the hardest part about that was just living, in a whole nother country, trying to assimilate, make friends, but the age group was mostly college girls age, so I ended up leaving the country and having like 2 or 3 of my bestest friends for life, if that's even a sentence. My bestest friends ever.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so I met some incredible people that I love so much.
Where were you at the time when COVID was officially
Right. Okay, so 2019, I was like, okay, I'm going to go overseas, and I just happened to choose Sweden, and this was going to be a thing. And then I think COVID hit in like March of 2020. Yeah, so I was already.
So you're there before it hit.
Yeah.
Where your family? I'm like, were they like, get home or?
No, they didn't really care.
I
was like, well, I don't know what to do, and my family's like pretty nonchalant.
Were you nervous at all?
I was kind of confused because we did postpone the start of season. And I was like, well, can I go home or like until like whatever? And they're like, well, we don't really want you to leave just in case we start next week. And then it kept getting pushed back and pushed back and pushed back. So, but yeah, so it was kind of interesting. But again, Sweden was the only country that was open. And unfortunately, none of my family could come visit because of COVID. So it was almost like I was 8 months away in jail.
Yeah.
Like just not seeing anyone in person from my family. But
so I was in Texas watching I was watching Jessica play against Japan in the final game of the She Believes Cup, and everything was kind of shutting down. That's when the NBA player was touching everything, and then found out he has COVID, and they shut the NBA down, and everyone, it was a mad rush to the airport. Yeah. So I left the game early because I was getting text messages like, "You might want to get home. They're going to shut down the airports." I'm like, so luckily I got home, and as soon as I got home, airports were shut down for a bit. Yeah. But it was probably a crazy time. It was you guys, nuts. Yeah. More so here, obviously, than Sweden. My dad is an airline pilot too, so like all of that is was crazy for him as well. That's insanity. I'm still. We had a meeting in March, right before as a staff, and we're shutting down our school, and our AD at the time was like, yeah, we're not going to be able to see each other for like a year and a half. I'm like, what are you talking about? How do you even know? What are you talking about? You're crazy. Yeah. And then it just, they kept talking about it. I'm like, we're done for you. Like, no, I still thought we're going to have school in the fall. Yeah. And no school in the fall. And my whole family, we always go to Seattle for a trip, and we met together, and we're like, well, is this, we're going to have school. We'll have school. Well, yeah, everything's fine. I'm like, I don't think so. Yeah. And I'm like, just from I don't want to get political here, but there's two sides. And one side said, yeah, we're shutting everything down. The other side, I'm like, no way. Yeah. And they were right. Like, they were in control. And it was shut down. And I couldn't believe it. I wish just if I had dates of, okay, there's nothing for these year and a half. I could have vacationed differently. I could have stayed in Bainbridge Island for a year and just enjoyed life. I know. That's why it was always hard, because it's like next week, next month. It was like, when is the end in sight, which is always hard to plan for. The unknown is always hard to plan for sure. I would start life over if I could have COVID over again, I would vacation.
Yeah.
I'd be like, okay, I got a year off. I'm getting paid and I'm going to take a year off. So, you luckily you're in Sweden. You went through a lot of things. You ended up in Houston.
Yep.
And then ultimately that came to an end because you wanted to get on with life. We already covered all that.
That's actually a good little recap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now that you kind of move on into your new life, you're back home in Arizona and you're now doing individual training. What got you into coaching and why?
Yeah. So I've been doing individual small group training every off season. So years. Right. And, when I decided to retire, I had no idea what I wanted to do. No idea. I didn't know if this was going to be my path. But when I moved back and I announced my retirement, I was definitely had tears. I'd text my boyfriend, meet me outside, and I'd be crying, and then his son was so cute because I was crying and he saw me and he's like, "Why are you so sad?" And I just retired. And he was like, "Well, when my grandma retired, we had a party and celebrated." It was really cute. But anyway, so I needed just something before I thought I'd find that big job to kind of pay the bills. And okay, I just need a little bit of money coming in. So I started working with my usuals, my regulars. And then I just started getting more girls, and then I was like, oh my gosh, I need to start claiming this for my taxes.
Yeah.
And so I got the LLC, and then I was like, oh my gosh, now I've grown. I have 55 girls. Holy cow.
Oh,
and so now it's just become I've always wanted to kind of use that as a passive sort of income. But now it's just grown so much and has become just something I have put a lot of time into, and it's definitely, it's taken off, and I feel so fortunate, and I've done zero marketing for it. I haven't paid a dime to try to expand or put anything out there. And that's kind of how I got involved with that. It was never, this is what I'm going to do. This is my plan. It was just okay, I got to get some money coming in the off season before I find a big girl job.
Yeah.
And, and then I was like, oh, wow, this is nice. And then it just started getting bigger. And, you got to take care of the people that you have right then and there. And then I think organically just grew. And again, quality of life is hard, but I'm okay with the grind for a little bit. And hopefully I can build something sustainable over time. But yeah, that's honestly how that started.
Yeah. So you retire, and this is how we kind of met. Was you got a call about some crazy neon soccer reality show kind of thing?
Yeah.
And tell us a little bit about what happened there, and what were your thoughts on it?
Even with that, with my lessons, as you know, I could barely make it to any of the practices.
Yeah, because you're a diva.
Yeah, I bet you're this girl doesn't even exist. She's not real.
Bo kept telling me, I'm like, okay.
Yeah, no, she's not. When is she going to show up? Notoriously late to everything, never shows up. But yeah, I got this text from Vlasto, who's one of my brother's really good friends, and very heavily involved in the soccer world. So he knew Bo, and when Bo connected with me, I honestly had just wanted to be a part of it. I didn't think I was going to play in it. I just was like, maybe I'll be in some kind of role, I don't know what that is. And I really liked Bo, just his style of communication. He's easy to talk to. And then when I came out here, just realizing I had so much joy playing, even if I was a little rusty or I'm out of shape. It just kind of got that little passion to play again.
Oh, you could see it.
Yeah.
There's a competitive side to you that's different.
You Can you see why I've played professionally?
I could see, yeah.
Kind of have a potty mouth.
That and no, you're very nice. You're very welcoming, and then the game, and then behind the scenes a little bit, you can tell like I have to win this.
Yeah.
and did you even know what this was? Did you understand? Did you have any idea?
No, I didn't. Like, I literally thought that we were playing in the Phoenix tournament to go play in the bigger tournament and win like $50K or whatever the grand prize was. So the day of, or I don't know, when we were rolling up, or one of the practices the night before, this whole thing, and they're like, no, this is actually for the 50K. And I was like, what? No. You know what I mean? So I think, again, I just feel so fortunate that I don't know what happens. Sometimes, like, life just works out for me in a sense, I'm like, oh, wow, that's cool. I
believe, so Bo explained it. The problem is, I had to talk to so many people. It's like, no, this is a real thing. It's 50,000, and they're like, no, I don't get this. Like, I was trying to get my daughter to understand. She's like, who's this Bo guy? And I had to send his resume. Listen, he works on Dateline. He's at the Super Bowl. He's do Good Morning America. He knows what he's doing, and like, it's a reality. No one can comprehend any of it.
I think because it doesn't happen often, and then
it's never happened.
Get in this, right? You get put in this situation, and you're like, "Wait, what? Like, I have the opportunity to win this amount of money like this? Like, it's kind of mind blowing, and it's
and the parents' fee,
addicting." I'm just kidding.
The parents' fee. You just show up. I mean, my daughter was saying, I got my. She was on the plane and she got the parents' fee.
Yeah,
she's like, it just came in.
Welcome to professional. No, I'm just kidding.
So,
it was.
Sorry. It was eye-opening when we showed up to the indoor arena.
Yeah, it was so cool. Well, that's what I was going to say. Yeah. Like, a lot of the girls were like, wanted to be, sorry, I don't know why I just looked at the camera. All of the girls wanted to be on the media and like in front of the camera doing all the roles, and like, like some of the girls that haven't had like that opportunity before. And so it was really kind of endearing in a sense, because I've gotten those experiences. Yeah. Like, we always have media day every year. Like, I've always had to be in front of a camera doing like different things with the ball, pictures, like your senior, your school day photo, right? And so some of these girls that haven't had like this kind of like cool like media day type deal. It
was definitely new to
like
a lot of them.
Big deal. Yeah, it was just really endearing to see them really enjoy it. And I passed on some of the things because I was like, you can go do this. Like, you've never done this before, So and I liked the green screen room. Yeah. Like, just like talking crap behind the scenes,
I'm curious how that's all going to come out together.
Watching yourself back, it's kind of cringe. You're like, oh,
well,
really
you're always going to feel that way. Yeah. But so they had makeup artists. Yeah. They had obviously the interview room, and then they had the competition and
and Lucy.
Yeah. So there was a lot of drama. I mean, you couldn't script it any better. I was just watching from the side.
Yeah. How did you feel watching?
I was nervous because I was like, oh shoot, people are gonna think I like.
Honestly, so nice.
It was cool. That was so
nice.
Fun, and I'm hopeful they're gonna do it again.
Yeah.
So let's name drop a little bit. Who all? What famous people were there as far as women athletes?
Athletes at Neon Lake.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lauren Sesselman, Jen
Munoz.
Yep. Sorry.
So Jen Munoz played for I think Club America, and she's huge. She has like how many Instagram followers?
She's. I could pull it up. You want me to pull it up?
Yeah. Well, I'll put the overlay on. So it's like 700,000-800,000 people.
Yeah, she has a lot. There was one girl there with like 1 million followers.
Yeah.
Who plays in the La Liga as well, which again I think is really cool for girls in that league to get this kind of opportunity as well, because I know that league is growing so much. And I know a lot of Americans are looking to play there now too.
Yep.
So, and then Jordan O'Brien was there. I think she's actually playing in La Liga now too. And then who else was there? I already said Lawrence Esselman, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Lucero Lara, who played in La Liga, Mackenzie Berryhill, who played in the NWSL, Natalie Stevens, who's looking to play overseas. Who else was there that the Marta.
Oh yeah, the futsal national team player from Spain.
From Spain, not the Marta from Brazil. Different Marta. Yeah.
She was such a cool human being. She engaged everybody.
Yeah, she was. I really loved her energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was cool.
Very good energy. We're energy people, you know? So, she was really cool. And then, allowed to say that before it comes out. Okay.
I'll ask Bo, but I'm going to put it out anyways. But
okay.
So the Neon League kind of did it's a pilot for a TV show or whatever it's going to become, and so a lot of good drama on that. Hopefully they captured it all because I saw it. I'm like, this is gonna be good.
I know they buy them, so we're not taking anybody.
Oh, double.
I know. It's like savage.
Yeah, that was.
Like, why did you pick me?
We'll see.
We need more women's competitions out there.
It was so fun.
Yeah.
Like I hope it takes off because
it'll still be exciting. Yeah, you know.
I just want to be a part of it. On the walkie, see, I got my walkie-talkies right there.
Yeah.
That's what I used.
Old school still.
Yeah. Oh, they work great.
Yeah.
But well, let's talk a little bit about how we find you. Like if you know someone has a son or daughter that wants to develop technique, how do they find you?
So I am working on my website, but right now I'm on the Coach Up app. If you've ever heard of that. So you can literally type my name in and
I'm pretty sure Cali Farquharson, the way it's spelled Farquharson is available. Is that your Earl?
Yes. Well, no, I named the company Cali's Pro Academy.
Okay.
But I'm looking to expand. I think I might change it to Professional Soccer Academy. We'll see. Because I want to add like this business partner. Her name is Allie and Cali, and I played collegiate soccer with her too. So
Allie who?
Allie Moon. So we're kind of looking to do that as well. And then, so that has like some of my contact info to reach out. And then my social media too. I have the email address at proacademy@cali.soccer.
What about, can they DM you on Instagram?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, of course. Availability is tough right now. Yeah. So I'm not necessarily looking to, okay, don't use that, I guess.
No, I will.
Bring more people. I was gonna say like
they might have to be on the whole
a group or like put in a group lesson or something. Just because I do again want to take care of the people that I have now, and I'm not looking to like grow exponentially, right? I'm just I want to take care of my girls and have some type of facility.
Is it girls only?
Yeah.
Okay.
So have some type of thing where it's like female coaches for the female youth type of.
Which is rare. There's not much.
Right. So, and then obviously it's with coaches that I trust and I would trust with anyone's child. Right. Mm-hmm. So again, I kind of want to bring that into the Arizona community and not even just people that I know, but I think there's only a handful of female coaches in the area. And I've been fortunate. I think I might know all of them or have heard of all of them. Mm-hmm. So more, I love to see that.
Well,
like
awesome.
Lindsay Johnson, right, at Gilbert Arsenal.
Yep.
Tara Kay at FC Arizona. Taylor Lytle, she played in the NWSL and was with the youth national team. She just got hired on by the Thunder, AZ Thunder.
Okay.
Tiff Roberts, Jenny at RSL. So I think just trying to help build that kind of female community is like really important. And I have nothing against the males either. You know what I mean? I just want more females as well.
I have problems with everybody, but you know what you guys should do, which would be very cool, is within your network, you know, because obviously there's unlimited supply of players to be able to serve, especially in the girls game, to have all girls, like a 3v3 tournament here at Phoenix College, and just make it kind of a play date fun so they can kind of do their technique without the pressure of kind of like Neon, like no coaches, just let them play and observe.
No, I mean, I think I'm very community based, like relationship based, like building relationships is like my number one priority, I think, in life. And I'm not like the most business minded human being. Like for me, a lot of my work isn't like money driven, you know, it's like educational, and being an educator, I think, is like the most important thing, especially with soccer. And so again, like if we could have something where you just remind girls to have fun, like a 3v3, or like, hey, look, like you don't have to, I don't know, everyone's journey is different, right? Like Jess's journey was way different than mine. And like, you know what I mean? Like so many people get to their pro careers in different ways. And a lot of it's opportunity. And, but I digress with that. But anyways, So.
I would love to have you. I think we could do something fun here. And
it's so nice too. It's such a nice campus.
Oh, our field, by the way, I'm killing on the field. I'm mowing again today. I love it. I aerated, I'm fertilizing on Monday. It's going to be the best field in Arizona. So anyways, thank you so much for coming on. I wish you the best of luck, and I'd love to have you on again down the road.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. And you can find this episode not only on YouTube, you can find us on Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever else podcasts are found. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Cali. And we'll see you guys next Sunday, 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Bye.
Bye. Later.